Ilhan Omar. Get the fuck out of office. No intro today. No, I am too pissed off at what I learned today. Ilhan Omar, representative from Minnesota, spoke on March 23rd at the 4th Annual Valley Banquet for a group called CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations. During said speech, she made this comment.
Because here's the truth. Here's the truth. Far too long, we have lived with the discomfort of being a second-class citizen. And frankly, I'm tired of it, and every single Muslim in this country should be tired of it. CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
I was informed of this information by individuals I follow on Twitter, the Imam Tawhidi and Texas Representative Dan Crenshaw. I'm doing my absolute best to keep myself from making comments based purely on emotion. CARE is an interesting organization, as it has been in the past accused of having ties with the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas. These accusations do not come from a right-wing conservative news outlet, no. The United Arab Emirates designated both CARE and the Muslim American Society as terrorist organizations. These claims of association with terror organizations, both groups have of course denied. But let's listen again to what Omar said.
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
CARE was formed after 9/11. Well, no. CARE was founded in 1994, and it was an advocacy group that even sought out justice for discriminated against Muslims after the Oklahoma City bombing. Now, the UAE designated a bunch of groups all at the same time in 2014. The American ones just have the most effect on us as Americans. The reason for this change is as follows. Quote, these extremist groups promote a hateful ideology that needs to be stamped out, and this action will stigmatize and isolate designated terrorist organizations locally, regionally, and internationally, Dr. Karasik said. He stressed the UAE takes very seriously the entire spectrum of terrorist and extremist movements, which can threaten the UAE and its allies. Reuters commented on this development at the time, in which the UAE Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Anwar Gargash, said on his Twitter account, the law included clauses giving organizations the availability to appeal through evidence and via the courts to have their names eliminated from the list. This is available to the organizations whose approach has changed, he tweeted. The noise by some Western organizations over the UAE's terrorism list originates in groups that are linked to the Muslim Brotherhood, and many of them work on incitement and creating an environment of extremism. The U.S. State Department said this week, in 2014, it did not consider either CARE or the Muslim American Society as terrorist organizations, and said it was seeking more information from the Emirati government on why it had designated them as such. But is my problem today with CARE? No. Though it has some shit to go through and sort out, not to mention Ilhan Omar's inclination to ask for reduced sentences for Muslim Brotherhood members raises several red flags. My problem was with the comment on 9/11.
That some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
Some people did something. How fucking dare you? You are a sitting member of the U.S. Congress, and the worst attack on the United States in modern history, in fact, the entire history of the United States, is some people doing something.
So we are coming off a tragic nightmare that has happened to Muslims in New Zealand. Many of us know that this is not a one-off incident. Many of us were not shocked or surprised. Many of us were kind of holding our breath for a really long time, thinking, when will something like this happen? Because many of us have experienced threats in our mosques, in our schools, even for our individual leaders. Many of us have witnessed bombings of mosques. Many of us have seen mosques set on fire. Many people, a few years ago, watched in horror as gunmen showed up to Irving, Texas, at a mosque, threatening Muslims. So we all kind of knew that this was happening.
You know, you make some appeals to your crowd in this almost 30-minute speech. A terrible tragedy happened in New Zealand, but you kinda knew this was gonna happen, you said. But 9/11 was just some people doing something.
We've seen that with the Muslim ban, a very hateful policy that has now been fully implemented, one that is going to leave a stain in our nation's history.
There is no Muslim ban. Anyone from a country on that list may not enter the US. It does not specify religion, so quit your lies.
We are told that we should be appropriate. We should go to school, get an education, raise our children, and not bother anyone. Not make any kind of noise. Don't make anyone comfortable. Be a good Muslim. But no matter how much we have tried to be the best neighbor, people have always worked on finding a way to not allow for every single civil liberty to be extended to us. You can clap for that.
What civil liberties are not afforded to you that are not afforded to other people? The hijab? You mean like the fake hate crime from the US Army where a lady said she was forced to take off her hijab in public and her ranking officer yelled at her, going so far as to call it religious rape? But that wasn't the case at all, was it? In fact, the superior officer was actually enforcing US Army protocol because the sergeant who cried religious rape had her hair visibly out of regulation. So she was tapped on the shoulder, not grabbed, counseled in private, not publicly shouted at, and only in the company of females so as to be kind to the religious views. So you can shove that one right up where the sun don't shine.
You can go to school and be a good student. You can listen to your dad and mom and become a doctor. You can have that beautiful wedding that makes mom and dad happy. You can buy that beautiful house. But none of that stuff matters if you one day show up to the hospital and your wife, or maybe yourself, is having a baby, and you can't have the access that you need because someone doesn't recognize you as fully human.
And you played the emotion game this whole fucking time. Everything you said was emotion of woe is me to the poor Muslims. You said Muslims tried to be good neighbors, and some Muslims are. The ones in America, many of them are perfectly fine. They practice peacefully and have no anger towards this country. Muslims pulled people from the rubble of the World Trade Center. Some were among the first responders who lost their lives. But you know, according to you, Ilhan Omar, and those organizers of CARE, to you all 9/11 was just some people doing something. If you want to play this emotion game so bad, fine, I'll play. This is what happened that day, September 11, 2001. Viewer discretion is advised.
This just in, you were looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center. The CNN Center right now is just beginning to work on this story.
Believed to be a plane crashed into the south tower of the World Trade Center. I just saw flames inside. You can see the smoke coming out of the tower. We have no idea what it was. It was a tremendous boom just a few moments ago. You can hear around me emergency vehicles heading towards the scene. Now, this could have been an aircraft, or it could have been something internal. It appears to be something coming from the outside due to the nature of the opening on about the 100th floor of the South Tower of the World Trade Center.
It's 8:52 here in New York. I'm Bryant Gumbel. We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan. You're looking at the World Trade Center. We understand that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. We don't know anything more than that. We don't know if it was a commercial aircraft.
Standing there pretty much looking out the window, I didn't see what caused it or if there was an impact.
So you have no idea right now?
There's another one. Another plane just hit. Right. Oh, my God. Another plane has just hit. It hit another building. Flew right into the middle of it. Explosion. My God, it's right in the middle of the building.
This one into the East Tower?
Yes. Yes. Right in the middle of the building.
What's that?
What's the telephone number? I'm waiting for SC to pick up. What's the telephone number you're calling?
You can do AC.
You can do anything.
441-2623.
441?
2623.
Okay. And you're on the 105th floor on the northwest corner, right?
Right.
At number 2 World Trade Center.
Right. Lady, there's 3 of us in this office. We're not ready to die, but it's getting bad.
I was photographing the burning building when EMT says, "Oh my gosh, look at that." And we started seeing people coming down out of the building.
804 in building 2. 80 people trapped. 204, 10-4.
I instinctively picked up my camera and started photographing them, following them as they came down, until I photographed what must become known as the falling man. It's a very quiet photograph. It's not like a lot of other violent photographs from other disasters. There's no blood, there's no guts, there's nobody getting shot. But people react to it in a way that they feel that they can relate to this photograph, that they might have been in the same situation and they might have had to make whatever choice the man in the photograph made.
I'll go closer and then up.
Okay, good.
I'm thinking you're going to have a shot statue.
Hello?
How the hell are you going to get my ass down? I need oxygen.
They're getting to you. They have a lot of apparatus on the
You guys didn't see him like it, lady. You get them in from all over. They go in from Jersey. I don't give a shit Ohio.
Okay, so what's your last name?
Mine's Cosgrove. I must have called about a dozen times already. Cosgrove.
Yeah.
My wife thinks I'm all right. I called her and said I was leaving the building. I was fine, and bang.
Well, I want you to...
Hold on. Yeah. Cherry. Doug Cherry. Is that right? Yeah. Doug Cherry is next to me. 105. Whose office? John Astro's office.
That's where you go. That's the office.
We're in John Astro's office. OST. ARU.
ARU.
Right, that's the office we're in. There's 3 of us in here.
OST, ARU.
OST, ARU. breaking windows. Hello? Hello? We're looking at the financial center. 2 of us, 2 broken windows. Oh, God! Oh!